Today we're looking at the exciting world of el preterito, the preterite, which is a simple past tense. Past versus the present. By now you already know how to handle the present and simple future tenses in Spanish. You know how to say I walk, he talks, we run, they are going on vacation, and so on. Today you will learn how to describe actions that were completed at some point in the past. These actions have already happened. It's over. The conjugation of present tense verbs, remember these. Hablar, hablo, I speak. Hablas, you speak. Habla, he, she, or you formal speak. Hablamos, we speak. Habláis, y'all speak. Hablan, they, you speak. ER verbs, comer, to eat. Como, I eat. Comes, you eat. Come, he, she, you formal eat. Comemos, we eat. Comáis, y'all eat. Comen, they, you plural eat. Vivir, to live. Vivo, I live. Vives, you live. Vive, he, she, you formal live. Vivimos, we live. Vivís, y'all live. Viven, they, you all live. The difference between ER and IR verbs exists only in the we form. The others are all the same. Now, the conjugation pattern for the preterite. To conjugate regular AR verbs in the preterite, simply drop the AR ending and add one of the followings. Haste, o, amos, estáis, arron. And that refers to yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, vosotros, ellos, ellas, ustedes. We go in the same order as always. First person, second person, third person, first person plural, and so on. To conjugate regular ER and IR verbs in the preterite, simply drop the ending, ER or IR, and add one of the following. Iste, yo, imos, estáis, ieron. To compare the endings, hablar, hablé, hablaste, habló, hablamos, hablastáis, hablaron. Comí, comiste, comió, comimos, comistáis, comieron. Viví, viviste, vivió, vivimos, vivistáis, vivieron. Unlike the present tense, there is no difference in the endings of ER and IR verbs in the preterite. The nosotros forms of all of the verbs that end in AR and IR are the same for both preterite and present tense. Hablamos, vivimos. AR verbs do not have stem changes in the preterite. So where you would change the stem and say cierro, I close, cierras, you close, cierra, he, she, you close, cerramos, we close, cierran, they or y'all close. You do not change stems for cerré, I closed, cerraste, you closed, cerró, he, she, you closed, cerramos, we closed, cerraron, they or y'all closed. ER verbs do not change stem in the preterito either. Where you would change the stem in the present tense, vuelvo, vuelves, vuelve, volvemos, vuelven for return. In the past tense, volver, volví, I returned. Volviste, you returned. Volvió, she, he, you returned. Volvimos, we returned. Volvieron, they or you returned. IR verbs. These are upcoming attractions. IR verbs are not your friends. There are not many of them, but they have many irregularities and there will be a whole lesson on those. If you see a verb with IR, go on high alert. Other spell changes you need to worry about. In the yo form, verbs that are ending in CAR, GAR, and ZAR. They need to have a spell change to preserve the original sound. So verbs that end in GAR change the G to a GU. So for jugar, yo jugué, I played. Verbs that end in car change the C to a QU. Yo busqué comes from buscar, I looked for. Verbs that end in ZAR change the Z to a C. Yo almorcé comes from almorzar, I ate lunch. There are more spell changes. The third person singular and plural of verbs that end in AER, EER, OIR, and OER, they use the ending YO with an accent. An unaccented I always changes to the Y when it appears between two vowels. So this means the él, ella, usted forms use the ending YO with an accent, and the third person plural, they and y'all, uses the ending yeron, Y-E-R-O-N. So watch on accents on all these forms. Are you confused yet? Try writing those preterito forms out by hand. That's old-fashioned, I know, but it is proven that your brain has a connection to the hand, and that helps you memorize how things are spelled better when you don't type but handwrite. There are some examples. Creer, to believe. Creí, I believed. Creíste, you believed. Creyó, he, she, you believed. Creímos, we believed. Creístais, y'all believed. Creyeron, they, you believed. Or oír, to hear. Oí, I heard. Oíste, you heard. Oyó, he, she, you heard. Oímos, we heard. Oístais, y'all heard. Oyeron, they, you heard. You can try this with a verb to read, leer. It does the same thing. Now you need to know when to use the preterito. Basically, it's over. It happened. The preterit is used for past actions that are seen as completed. The preterit is used for actions that can be viewed as single events. Use it for actions that were repeated a specific number of times or occurred during a specific period of time. The preterit is used for actions that were part of a chain of events. And it is used to state the beginning or the end of an action. For example, completed single events. Ella caminó por el parque. She walked through the park. Ellos llegaron a las 8. They arrived at 8 o'clock. And for repeated events that were repeated a specific number of times or happened during a specific period of time. Ayer escribí 3 cartas. Yesterday I wrote 3 letters. Vivimos allí por 4 años. We lived here for 4 years. The preterit is used for actions that were part of a chain of events. Ella se levantó, se vistió y salió de la casa. She got up, dressed, and left the house. The preterit is used to state the beginning or the end of an action. Empezó a nevar a las 8 de la mañana. It began to snow at 8 in the morning. This is a lot of stuff to remember. Be old-fashioned. Go old school. Break out paper and pencil. Write these forms down. Start with the regular AR, ER, and IR verbs. Practice the spell changes. Practice, practice, practice. There is a lot more to come. And as always, if you have questions, feel free to contact me via D2L.